Welcome back to Banjo Adventures, and in the first video we were just talking about timing and we were just getting into learning how to do the basic frailing strum and building our claw before the heavens opened up, it started raining and I had to take a running jump and go home. So this is the next video lesson and this is a practical lesson, so what I want you to do is you can't learn anything without having your banjo on your knee. So pause the video at this moment in time, go and grab your banjo, get it tuned to standard open G, that's G, B, G, B, B. Now come back and join me and I'll show you how to hold your banjo properly and we're going to learn some practical skills. So as you can tell, it's a bit foggy today. We've gone for the old Wuthering Heights vibe. The Emily Brontes, the Bronte sisters. That's who I could be today, a Bronte sister. Although I can't because I'm obviously a man and the Bronte sisters were females. Although, you know, in this day and age you can identify as whatever the hell you want to be. So as of today I am a Bronte sister, Ben Bronte. Oh, lesson spiraled out of control already. So in this, oh by the way, this is actually a dog walking route. I'm not just in the middle of nowhere, but it is foggy and people walk dogs in all weathers. So, you know, imagine you're out by yourself walking your dog and it's foggy and you can't see 20 feet in front of you, then all of a sudden you hear. You'd think, oh shit, I'm getting out of here. Oh God, right, sorry about that. That's what happens with these lessons, they descend into chaos fairly quickly. So this video lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to finish off building what we started. So we're going to revisit how to craft your clawhammer shape with your frailing hand. And we're going to start making our first noises on the banjo. And it's really exciting time because, you know, this is step one, this is your first steps into the world of clawhammer banjo. And it's the first step for the rest of your life, you know. This is where it all begins. So first of all, we need to learn how to actually hold the bloody thing. So if I take my strap off, you'll notice that I've got neck strap here, which is crucial, and I'll show you why in just a moment. And what you want to do is you want to sit down, ideally in a chair with a bit of a backrest. How do you, right? You want to sit in a chair with a bit of a backrest, so it keeps your back up straight like that. And then you want to actually sit with your banjo in between your knees like this, at a 45-degree angle. So you want, see the 45-degree there? So you want to sit down at an angle like that, sit down straight, back straight, banjo on your knee, 45-degree angle. You want it so that if you was to twist your banjo like that, see that 5th string tuning peg? It's going to knock out one of my teeth. So that's where it needs to be. So your banjo 45 degrees. Now if I let go of this, well, it's just going to fall down. See what happens? That's why your neck strap plays a pivotal role in keeping this thing straight, because once you put that on, all of a sudden, voila, as if by magic, it just sits up straight, it behaves. And you need that because when you start using your fretting hand, you don't want to be constantly pushing the bloody thing back up and trying to keep it straight. So for the first part of learning clawhammer banjo, all we're going to do, we're going to focus on our frailing hand. And what we want to do is just assume for a moment, or just imagine for a moment, that our hands have eyeballs built into them, right? So all our hands can see, as far as the banjo is concerned, our frailing hand can only see 5 strings, strings 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That's all that this hand can see, and it's all this hand can do. And then our fretting hand up here can only see 4 strings. You know, you've only got 4 strings at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Until you get to that 5th fret, and then it turns into 5 strings. But, believe it or not, even though it is a 5-string banjo, our fretting hand, 99.99% of the times, is only going to be touching and fretting those 4 strings that you see up here that go all the way down. So as far as our fretting hand is concerned, it's only a 4-string instrument. Now, the frailing hand and the fretting hand eventually are going to be working together in unison, but for the first part of learning clawhammer, our frailing hand is going to do all the legwork at first. So effectively, this hand can just go into my pocket there. I don't need that hand anymore. I'm just going to use this hand until we get used to doing something called the basic frailing strum. And I demonstrated the basic frailing strum in the first video. Now the basic frailing strum can be known as that, the basic frailing strum. It's also known as the bum-ditty, the boom-chicka, and probably many, many other names. And the reason for that is, why it's called the bum-ditty, is it makes this noise. Bum-ditty, bum-ditty. And then when we speed that up, bum-ditty, 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 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and it just goes like that. It's a basic rhythm, and it's the foundation, the cornerstone, the building block of Clawhammer banjo. So to get truly comfortable with this motion, this frailing motion, we're going to spend this first lesson just slowly adapting our frailing hand to this new, crazy new world that is Clawhammer banjo, and just do a very simple exercise, and I'll demonstrate what that is in just a moment. Because to become banjo players, to become artists and creative people on the banjo, that will happen eventually, but first we need to become quite robotic. We need to become robots before we become artists, and the robotic side of it is just this monotonous 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and it takes some getting used to, and it takes, you know, it takes a couple of minutes to learn to understand what needs to be done, but it'll take days, weeks, could even take months before you feel fully comfortable and confident doing that basic frailing strum. And believe it or not, your family may not appreciate it. They may not they may not like the sound of the banjo. Hard to believe, isn't it? But not a lot of people do. Do you like the sound of the banjo?
Like sound amazing musical, mate.
Oh, nice one. Not a lot of people do.
What you're doing is well cool. Get up here playing that in all that.
That's why I'm sat here. I've been kicked out of the house. Oh, thank you.
Don't worry about it, it's just soft as
Oh, it's alright. She might bite me if I start playing this. Come here. See you later. So before we start, our robotic action, that frailing action, it needs to become robotic first before it becomes fluid and natural. And look at it like driving a car. You know, when you first start driving a car, you're uptight, and your instructor's sat next to you and he's teaching you, you're all uptight and your shoulders are up here and you're scared and you're looking at all your mirrors and you're nervous and you're rigid and you're very, you know, you're not relaxed at all. And it's only once you've passed your test and you've got behind the wheel and you've spent weeks and weeks on the road and you've experienced what good and bad traffic is like, only then, you know, after a few months, are you driving with one hand and you've got the other hand, you're touching the radio and you're playing your music and nothing's really phasing you and you feel relaxed and you know where all the buttons are and you understand what I mean. It takes time before you finally get over that rigidity, that feeling of tension. And it's the same with this, you know. Yes, it is deceptively simple. It's only 4 actions. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll explore the full Clawhammer basic frailing action on the next video. But for this video, we're just going to do a very simple introduction exercise just to get his hand warmed up, because it's a completely new world and it takes time to get used to it. So as I was saying before, your family are probably not going to appreciate you making noises till the early hours of the morning. If you're taking it to work, you know, people won't appreciate the noise because it is a noisy thing. So a way to deaden the noise, and this is drip of water just landed on my head. A way to deaden the noise is, if you have an open back banjo like mine, is to get yourself a soft toy. Like, I mean, you don't need a labubu, but what you can do is get a teddy. You can stuff it in the back like that, right? And listen. There's no, well, there is still a bit of a noise, but you know, if your family are watching Britain's Got Talent and you're in the background plucking away, they're not going to appreciate it. So if you've got a resonator on your banjo, you could potentially take your resonator off, stuff a teddy in it, just softens the sound. Or you can just tell your family to deal with it, or lock yourself, or do what I do, kick yourself out of the house and just come out into the middle of nowhere and play the banjo. Oh, it's sent me a banjo out of tune, that. Right, okay, back to the lesson. So yeah, that's one way of just like keeping your family at peace with your banjo learning abilities. So the beautiful thing about Clawhammer banjo is there's no need for finger picks, there's no need for plectrums, there is only you, your fingers and that fingernail. You use the back of the middle fingernail to strike the strings. So if you imagine the banjo is our medium, we are artists, the banjo is our medium. Our frailing hand, whether you're right or left-handed, our frailing hand is our paintbrush, and our paintbrush is there to create the music. And the basic frailing strum, that's our brush strokes. That's about as far as the artist analogy is going to go, because I'm not quite the artist, but you get the drift. Now, this is our paintbrush, this is our canvas, our medium, and the basic frailing strum is our basic brush stroke to start our first picture. So what I'm going to do is build that paintbrush. We did it in the first lesson, so I'll just revisit it. Now in the first lesson I used a can of Stella. I don't have a can of Stella anymore. I have got my old Costco club card though. So what I do is just get your frailing hand, you want to crunch it like that, get your Costco club card to sit in those grooves like I showed you on the first video, and you want to just be able to grip it just with the grooves of your fingers like that. So you see my thumb's not touching the card, it's just gripped with my fingers. Remove that, you've got a basic shape, then you want to extend your middle finger out ever so slightly, like that, and then just get your index finger out of the way. So you start off like you're shooting a gun, okay? Your middle finger sticks out a little bit, just so you get a nice clean strike on the strings when you're playing Clawhammer. Now the banjo normally has this armrest here. Normally, they don't all have them. I've got an old banjo at home that doesn't have it, but they have this armrest, and all that is, it's for your forearm to just sit and pivot, and it's usually, it's nice and smooth and soft, so you don't get any like marks on your arms there, because these brackets and bolts that go around the edges are quite pokey and a bit spiky. Anyway, your forearm sits on there, and it allows us to strike our banjo somewhere between the edge of the rim and the wooden bridge here. So our arm pivots like that, and when it pivots, creating that clawhammer shape again, that middle finger can then strike the strings, because it's called clawhammer because we create a claw and it's a hammering action on the strings. We're not picking, we're not plucking, and we're not strumming down like a guitar. We do a strumming action, but we're not doing that. We're actually hammering down, so we're going pivoting on the armrest and we're striking down. And it feels unusual at first. What we'll do, we'll save the striking for the next video. All we're going to do in this video is just get used to this brand new world, this alien sort of thing that we're going to do. Let me just adjust this camera so you can see my banjo head a bit better. Let's go down a bit, there we go. So yeah, so we're going to be striking down eventually in the next lesson, but in this lesson, all I want you to do is just create your claw shape. Now, just getting used to doing this is going to take a little bit of time, but once you get this is like you're driving the car analogy. You start off rigid like this at first, and eventually your hand might do its own thing. Like when I play Clawhammer now, I don't play like that, my hand just does this. So my hand looks like that when I play Clawhammer, but I know my index finger doesn't get in the way. Everyone's different, just start off doing that, and eventually you'll just find your own flow. So all I want you to do, just create your claw shape, get your thumb, and just put your thumb on that 5th string there. And keep your thumb on the 5th string, right? And then what I want you to do is, while your thumb is on that 5th string, just strum the strings. Now you might be thinking like, how do I do that? How do I strum the strings if my thumb's there? Do I like, how? So what you don't want to do is, your hand's like that, okay? Now your thumb has a joint here, and I call it the crab claw. Now what you want to do to strum the strings, you'll see there's a gap between my thumb and my middle finger. When I close this joint here, you see that gap closes. Now, my thumb stays on that 5th string there, so when I close that joint, my hand goes up naturally. Now I'm in a position to strum. Look at my thumb, it stays on that 5th string. Again. Okay, just try that 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just keep doing. Just get used to doing that motion, that motion of Clawhammer. This is how it works. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feels weird, doesn't it? Because we're doing that. It's not often we do that in everyday life. Normally we use our thumb in that pincer motion, but in Clawhammer we're doing that specifically. So the next evolution of that would be to incorporate the thumb. Now the basic frailing strum includes a pluck, a strum and a thumb. We'll save the pluck part for the next lesson because it requires a little bit more targeted stringy accuracy, but for now, create your claw. Put your thumb on that fifth string again. Now this time we're going to strum and then we're going to thumb. Okay, so we're going to strum, thumb. You'll notice when you thumb, your thumb comes off that fifth string. So we want to get back on the fifth string, ready for the next strum, because it's going to loop over and over. So create your claw, thumb on the fifth string. We're going to strum, thumb, strum, thumb, strum, thumb, strum, thumb. Now people will say, like, do I strum all 5 strings or just the 4 strings? Now, normally you strum just the 4 strings, that's strings 4, 3, 2 and 1. But if your middle finger strums all 5 strings, it doesn't matter, because as soon as my thumb comes into contact with that 5th string, so I strum, my thumb lands on the 5th string. The second I strum and my thumb hits that 5th string, it's going to completely cut the noise off anyway. So don't worry too much about how many strings or what strings you strum, because like I said, if you strum all 5 strings, the second your thumb lands on that 5th string, it cuts the sound off anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. So create your claw shape, thumb on the 5th string, strum, thumb, strum, thumb, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's all we're doing for this lesson. You'll notice that all my lessons are slow paced. I truly believe that you cannot learn anything in a 3-minute TikTok video or in a bite-sized video lesson. This whole thing is a life skill. It's not something that you can just rush through, bomb through it in a weekend and you learn it. There's no rush, there's no finish line, there's no certificate, there's no competition. It's just your own self-gratification of learning this skill, which is why I say take it slow, work on this, and when you're ready, move on to the next level. You'll know when you're ready. You might be ready right now. You might be thinking, that's too easy, that. I'll just move on to the next lesson, crack on. If this is totally alien to you and it's going to take you a week just to get used to this, it'll take you a week. What I'm going to discuss in the next lesson is working out how to make the most out of your time, because time is one of the most valuable assets that we've got as human beings. You know, you can't make time, you can't save time, you can't invest time. All you can do is spend time. And it's crucial, if you're going to spend that valuable asset, your time, I want you to make sure that every minute that you sit down with your banjo is a minute well spent. Every single minute is time well spent and you're getting the most out of it. Because I spent years and years of plateauing, just reaching a certain level and never breaking through, because I never challenged myself, never pushed myself to learn anything new. So in the next video lesson, we're going to discuss the perfect practice plan that was going to work for you. We are also going to learn the 3 different methods of practice. We're going to learn how you can only get worse at playing the banjo, because it is possible to get worse. And that is all in the next lesson. But what I'm going to do for the final part of this lesson is we're just going to run this video out till the very end with that simple practice exercise. So grab your banjo, get yourself tuned up, and we're going to play the strum thumb for a couple of minutes. And then as the video fades out, check out the next video lesson. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you join the Banjo Adventures Discord community, where you can connect with me one-on-one. I can offer you guidance and advice and support and help you along the way. Okay, let's go. So, claw shape, thumb on the 5th string, and let's go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you count. Okay, so you know what to do now. You're going to take this, take it away with you, practice it, just get comfortable and have fun with it. And I will see you on the next video lesson. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home where God will never end. I'll fly away. Should be singing that. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way. Right, I'm out of here. See you on the next video.